What's up guys, it's your boy Spider back for another JJKPhantomparade videos. Today we're going to be going over the brand new movie collab V2 Yuta. Before we get started though, I would really appreciate it if you guys could drop me a like, comment, subscribe. Would really help me out trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. 2 months away from that. Would really appreciate it, but that being said, let's get right into this. So, hey, brand new Yuta is finally coming out. To be honest, he might already be up by the time this video gets uploaded, but hey, it is what it is. All I gotta say is that he's a pretty good character, and of course, you know, global anniversary is finally here, but at the same time, JP anniversary is coming up very soon, so you may also want to keep that in mind for how many pulls you want to do for Yuta, as well as how you want to go into this overall celebration. So moving on, of course, you also have 2 limited recollection bits. First thing I did want to or the next thing I wanted to cover was the fact that he is a movie collab limited character, right? So just like the old Red Yuta, just like Blue Ghetto, and just like Miguel, they will not be having semi-frequent like reruns. Though to be fair, we've kind of had like how many, like 2 reruns already for JJK movie 0 collab. So like, you know, it's like they're movie collab characters, so they're not going to be that frequent, but they've kind of been doing it kind of frequently anyways, so you know, it's just kind of funny that way. But at the same time, they are for sure more limited than regular limited collab or than, you know, not collab, than regular limited characters, so but there is that to keep in mind. But I think overall, in my opinion, we'll take a look at this kid, but as face value, I think he's worth summoning for. However, if you don't have enough to guarantee him, or at the very least you don't have a little bit more, so if you don't have an extra from like, so basically if you don't have 75,000 cubes plus an additional amount, then I don't think it's really worth summoning here. Or if you really wanted to, you could do about, I think it's 200 pulls, basically enough to where you can exchange the pity tickets or whatever from the shop. You basically just do enough pulls for that, and then just buy the tickets, and then that way you can at least have some pulls left over for actual JP anniversary units, which are going to be 3 of them. Most likely for global anniversary, it'll literally just be this Yuta, because they already showed us what the next banners are going to be for the next couple of weeks. So it's literally just this Yuta, and that's it pretty much, as like the big hitter essentially. But yeah, you know, just keep that in mind. He's a movie collab character, but at the same time, his banner will be around for like a whole month, basically up until December, and then by the first, basically the end of November, first week of December, we should basically see what the at least the first JP anniversary unit is going to be, which will most likely maybe be, in my opinion, when we get merged with JP. I think that's what they're gonna maybe go for, but I'm not too sure. But at the very least, by then we'll see who exactly is going to be JP anniversary first unit, and then from there you can decide if you really want to still try and get this Yuta, or if maybe the other character entices you more and you think they're better, right? Anyway, sorry about that. Let's go actually into, you know, the other details, right? So on the tier list, he is the #1 best DPS in the game for blue typing, right? As for overall DPS, I don't know if he's the best one. To be fair, Sukano was that, but I got, you know, dropped down, and Yuta took his place. So I think Yuta might be the strongest DPS character, but at the very least, for sure, he's the strongest blue DPS character in the game, right? So this is the current, like, you know, list of like who's the best DPS, right? So Sukano did get booped down. Now it's Yuta here. So hey, who knows? Maybe Sukano will jump back up. Not this one specifically, but maybe I think a new Sukano will be coming out for Shibuya. It'll be the one probably where he has like the flame arrow, I'd assume. It'll probably be that one, if anything. Now let's take a look at what exactly Yuta does, right? Like what makes him so good? Like what makes him like replace Sukano, which was like the used to be the best DPS in the game, especially for the blue typing, right? So going on, yeah, he's a movie limited character. He's blue. He's has both physical and Jujutsu energy, and then no characteristics, no black flash. So he has a regular skill 1, cross slash at level 1, deals 97 melee physical damage to 1 enemy, so very basic. At level 10, it's 150 melee physical damage to 1 enemy. Now we have this thing called Change Skill 1, which I'm assuming is probably like some sort of buff he applies to himself, which changes his state or something. So Change Skill 1 at level 1, in Rika Orimoto state, skill changes to Don't Get In My Way. So increases own break damage by 100% for 1 turn 1 time, which is going to be in the attack. Deals 231 range Jujutsu damage to 1 enemy, and then stop the selected enemy's action for 2 turns 1 time at a 25% chance. That sounds very broken. That sounds really good. Okay, level 10, the break does stay the same. However, now he's dealing 300 range Jujutsu damage to 1 enemy. However, it is still a 25% chance to stop an enemy's action for 2 turns, which is still pretty good. I'm assuming the 1 time is probably like if you attack them, then maybe gets rid of it, but that's still pretty good. Yeah, that is a very strong. Already off to a great start. That's like, compared to like, what is it, 150 to like an extra 150 is like pretty strong right there. That's pretty huge. So that's pretty cool. Alright, here we go. Skill 2, infusing cursed energy into my blade. At level 1, costs 25 cursed energy, increases own physical stat, critical hit rate, and damage reduction by 27.3%. So all 3 of those will be 27.3 at level 1 for 3 turns. And you fill your own ultimate gauge by 60. At level 10, you're now increasing physical, crit, and damage reduction by 30%, so you get like an extra 3%, so nothing that crazy. And then the ultimate gauge is still 60, so you don't get that much of a buff, unfortunately, at level 10. But maybe on the change skill 2, we'll see a actual big buff, right? So change skill 2. At level 1, it costs 70 cursed energy, so a significant increase. In Rika Orimoto state, skill changes to overflowing cursed energy. Increases own jutsu stat by 63.9% for 5 turns, cannot be stacked. Fills own ultimate gauge by 60, so that's still the same. I'm pretty sure, right? Yeah, it's still the same. And then decreases all enemies' critical hit resistance by 41.9% for 5 turns, also cannot be stacked. So essentially, you're getting a much bigger, what was it? Oh, this time, yeah, so you're not getting physical stat, however, you will be getting a jujutsu stat, so you'll be in a pretty sizable, right? 63. Now, granted, it does suck you can't stack it. Basically, it's just saying you can't really stack the skill, but at the same time, 5 turns is still pretty strong. That is still pretty good. And then at level 10, you're now increasing that to 80%. So also, just off the bat, that's still really, really good. And heck, that's honestly most than most characters give anyways. So that's really good. It does like a little bit that it's not stackable, but you can just run different support and you can kind of stack that way. But that's still very strong. And then the crit resistance now jumps up to 60%, so over 50%, still pretty good. So I think this is like a really nice skill. I will say the regular version does kind of suck that's only like a minor increase, but like at the same time, it's still pretty worth it. You still get a pretty sizable buff, and I think it's worth it regardless to level this one up as high as you can. So that's pretty interesting. But yeah, so far, really good as well. Skill 3, Step Slash. Level 1, costs 15 cursed energy. You deal 249.9 melee physical damage to 1 enemy for 3 hits. If the selected enemy is a formidable foe though, so like bosses basically, increases the selected enemy's break damage received by 14.9% for 3 turns, and then otherwise increases the selected enemy's damage received by 14.9% for 3 turns. After the skill is performed, you increase your own physical stat by 14.9% for 3 turns, which technically can't stack because there's no limit here, right? So basically the main thing is you're dealing a decent amount of damage here, 249.9%. And then if they're a boss, you increase the selected enemy's break damage received. Otherwise, if they're not a boss, you're going to increase their damage received basically. Okay, so if they're a boss, it's going to be, you're going to basically apply debuff to make it easier to break them. But if they're like a regular enemy and they're not a boss, then you just apply increased damage received, which kind of sucks. You can't do both, but it is what it is. It doesn't mention that it is AoE though, so most likely this is only for single target enemies, so that kind of sucks a little bit, but oh well. At level 10 though, you're now dealing 630% melee physical damage to 1 enemy, so that's a lot, a lot of damage right there. You're now increasing the selected enemy's break damage and damage received by 20% now, and then you're increasing your own physical stat by 20%, so it's still pretty good overall. I'd say decent buffs right there. And then of course I've changed skill when you get to change skill 3. So in Rika Orimoto state, skill changes to Rika-chan, you cannot come out. This now turns into a 30 cost cursed energy skill. And basically what you do now at level 1 is you deal 634.5 range jutsu damage to 1 enemy for 3 hits. And then if selected enemy is a boss, formidable foe, then you're increasing the selected enemy's break damage received by 34.7% for 3 turns. Otherwise, if they're a regular enemy or not a formidable foe, then you're increasing their damage received by 34.7% for 3 turns instead. So basically, just bigger numbers overall essentially is all you're really getting here. And then after the skill is performed, you're increasing your own critical hit damage by 34.7% for 3 turns. That is different, because over here you're just increasing physical stat. Over here though, you're increasing your own critical hit damage, which is still pretty cool and honestly kind of better a little bit. And then at level 10, you're now dealing almost 1,000 damage. Or 1,000, almost 1,000 jutsu damage, but you're just hitting 960 range jutsu damage to 1 enemy, and then you're increasing the enemy enemies break damage, and increasing the enemy's damage received by 50% for both of them. You know, if their boss is the break one, if it's a regular enemy, then, or not a formidable foe, then it's going to be the just increased damage received. 50% is still very massive. That is actually very huge. And you're also increasing your own critical damage by 50% also. So that's very strong as well. Also, all these skills are very, very much worth leveling up to level 10 for sure. Ultimate here, special grade Vengeful Cursed Spirit, Rika Orimoto at level 1. Grants Rika Orimoto state for 8 turns, so you have to do the ultimate first, and then you get access to the different variants of all the different skills, right? So at level 1, you're dealing 1,000 damage off the bat, which is kind of crazy. Range Jutsu damage to one enemy for 3 hits. You recover your own cursed energy by 50, so that's pretty nice. Regardless of the cursed energy cap, in Rika Orimoto state, increases own jutsu damage by 70%, and then you increase your own damage dealt by 100% applied when the selected enemy is in a break state. Ignore. Okay, so if they're broken, you get an extra 100% damage dealt. You ignore darkness to attack. You recover your own cursed energy by 10 each turn, regardless of the cursed energy counts. Technically, you're going to be getting 60 off the bat, off rip. And then when Rika Orimoto state is no longer applied, so after the 8 turns are over, then you recover your own HP by 20%. That is a lot of good stuff right there. That's a lot of good stuff. At level 10 though, he's now dealing 1,800 damage, jutsu damage to one enemy, right? And then that's pretty much all the changes. Everything else is the same, but it's still very, very strong. That's really good. So basically, the idea is you get to his ultimate, you get the Rika Orimoto state, then you do all the shenanigans with all the other skills, right? Maybe since you do get, you technically get 60 off the bat if there's a character on your team that can give you cursed energy. Cool, you know, or otherwise you maybe just want to do skill 1, wait one more turn, then you should have enough cursed energy by the turn after to apply skill 2, get your buffs going. Then you would probably just wait till get skill 3 popping off, and then you just do skill 3, and then it's like rinse right into the ultimate again to, you know, do all these different buffs here. So really cool stuff, really cool stuff here. His combo ultimate here, you deal 256 range jutsu damage to one enemy. You recover your own and the allies HP by 30%. That's actually really good. That's like significant HP recovery. That's pretty good. Definitely would recommend that. And then if you get his hit potential though, you're now also increasing his and the allies critical hit damage by 40% for 3 turns. Is also kind of cool. Not nearly as like, you don't really need to do that, but it's still really good. So if you can do that, you get extra damage off of that, plus, you know, the healing, which is cool right off the bat. He does have a couple auto skills here though. Don't bully Yuta. At the start of the turn, grant counter state to self. He has the counters as well. Okay. If receiving any melee attack, certain chance to deal 300% melee physical or jutsu damage to one enemy. That's countered, of course. A critical hit rate large, so he has a high chance to crit. And then he recovers his own HP by 5%. You recover your own cursed energy by 10 regardless of the cursed energy cap, 1 counter per turn. Interesting. So I guess he just has guaranteed counter for forever, basically, just off the bat. And then it's like guaranteed you'll always counter 1 time every turn, basically. So that's interesting. As long as you get hit by an enemy, right? And then at the start of the turn, increases own ultimate gauge charging rate by 5% for 1 turn. The less HP has, the greater effect, up to 50% with 40% HP. So basically you get minimum 5% ultimate charge rate, and then the less HP you have, the more it ramps up, basically. That's also really good to help him build up his ultimate, and then he can also heal himself with that as well, right? And there's another one here, critical hit enhancement. When critical hit is performed, increase own critical hit rate by 15% for 4 turns. You increase your own critical hit damage by 30% for 4 turns, and you also fill your ultimate gauge by 110. Which, if this is the case, doesn't that technically mean that once you get the first crit off and you just spam this, it's going to be easier to do more crits? So then that way you're going to be getting multiple ultimate gauge charge. So yeah, this guy is like, sounds very self-sufficient, which I love. Characters that are super self-sufficient to make their kits really good and make it work because they don't need anybody else technically. And this Yuta basically does all that. He needs an ultimate gauge charge. He has plenty of that. He has pretty good survivability, a lot of damage, a lot of buffs to increase his own damage. He even has a free counter, like Garrett, for the whole fight, basically. So yeah, this Yuta is really strong. I can definitely see why he's better than Sukuna. He has a whole bunch of stuff going on for him that's so good. I would highly recommend a summon from this guy. But at the same time, keep in mind of how many cubes you have, as well as the fact that JP Anniversary is coming soon, and they're going to probably be really broken characters, and Global's probably going to get them probably by December, I'd imagine. Maybe we'll even get Global JP merge by December, and then we'll both be able to enjoy the celebration, right? So just keep that in mind, or you might want to be a little careful with your cubes. Granted, they could always give us the JP Anniversary units like maybe later if they still don't want us to be like fully cut up, which would be kind of weird. But at the same time, either way, they're going to be coming out very soon, because there's literally only a couple characters in between Global and JP at the moment. Now, going to the memory tier list here, because we have, 2 new recollection bits. So the new recollection bits haven't been added to the tier list at the moment yet, at least as far as I'm aware of, or maybe they're just not good enough to be added here, but I haven't really seen them from the last time I looked at it, and looking at it right now, I still don't see them. So I'll just be, I'll be going over them, and then I'll place them where I think that they would probably belong, in my opinion. So first one here, off the gacha, right? Because this is going to be one of the gacha ones. So going off, so we have Crips on Takeshita Street. So this one's going to be 36, so basically 50-50 for both physical and jutsu. So when you do anything, skill or ultimate, you increase all allies' jutsu stat by 20% for 1 turn, and then you increase your own cursed energy by 5 for allies with the trait Curse Users. So okay, so basically as long as anyone has cursed trait or cursed users as a trait, they'll get this buff. Okay, which I don't know if cursed users is like basically everybody, or if this is only for people like Mahito, a Jogo, like I don't know if it's only for those characters, right? But I'd assume that's the case because it says cursed users, so I think that might be it, but I'm not 100% sure. I won't dupe though. At the start of the turn, when self-cursed energy is 40 or more, increase all allies' jutsu damage received by 10%. Or all enemies jutsu damage received by 10% for 1 turn. It's pretty cool. And then 3 dupes, you're now increasing everybody's jutsu stat by 25%. And you're also increasing cursed energy for all allies by 10 instead of 5, which is pretty cool. Granted, it's a 7-turn cooldown, but it's not too bad. And this is for sure a support recollection bit. For increasing damage, this is definitely an offensive one, with a bit of utility. And honestly, this is some pretty good stuff. I would honestly say this is easily a double S tier. This is easily a double S tier between offensive and utility. I think it is really, really good. I don't think it's necessarily broken, because mind you, right, the cursed energy thing, or the cursed user. But at the same time, you do get a free 25% jutsu stat, which is still pretty good, right? So overall, I'd say... also, if it is cursed users, right? If it is cursed users like Jogo and Mahito and all them, Sukano would count for this, I'm pretty sure. So then that would mean he could also use the extra cursed energy, right? But regardless, I think this is easily like a double S tier between offensive and utility. I think it's really good. It has a pretty good utility. Otherwise, it has some pretty good offensive buffs with 25% jutsu damage buff for the whole team, which is very, very nice in my opinion. I think it's very, very nice. Also, of course, you do get the debuff as well. Increase all enemies jutsu damage received by 10%, so that's also pretty cool in my opinion. So overall, yeah, double S tier for sure. Now the second one we have rated up on the gacha. We have knowledge on exorcism or exercising. This is only jutsu, so no physical here. When the ultimate skill is activated, increases own jutsu stat by 65% for 1 turn 1 time, and if a blue character is using this, increases an additional jutsu stat by 20% for 1 turn 1 time, and you're recovering 10 cursed energy. So basically, it's literally just meant for Yuta. This is literally just Yuta coded, the brand new Yuta. This is literally just built for him. You're getting jutsu buff, which most of his damage, the bigger damage, right, does come from Rita, which is jutsu. And you're also getting free curse energy, which is going to help you ramp up and use some of the other skills way quicker instead of having to wait an extra couple turns, right? Which is pretty cool. If you have one dupe into it, you get 20% crit rate. And then at 3 dupes, it's now a 75% jutsu stat on top of the 20 that already exists. So you're actually going to be getting 95, almost 100% jujutsu stat, which is kind of crazy. And the fact that literally with 3 dupes, it jumps up an extra 10% instead of an extra 5%. Is kind of crazy in my opinion. Very, very, very good. This is really, really strong. This for sure is easily, if we go on damage, this is easily a double S tier jutsu recollection bit. Easily double S tier. This is so good. It is on par with non-standard. If anything, it's a little bit better than non-standard, not gonna lie. Granted, it does have a bit of restriction though. Otherwise, you know, 75%. But hey, 75% is still pretty strong. That's still a pretty big amount. But you get a bigger amount, right, if it's a blue character, which honestly, the restriction isn't even that bad. It's literally just the color typing compared to other restrictions, which can be a little bit worse. But yeah, this is still really good. I definitely think this is easily double S tier. So if you guys do get the recollection bit, consider yourselves lucky because this is a pretty good one. Plus, it is movie limited, so you won't really have that much of a good chance to pick it up in the future, right? Until whenever they do another JJK0 collab, which they're probably gonna do because they still haven't done the Gojo from that collab yet. So we're probably gonna be getting a Gojo maybe next year. I wouldn't be surprised, especially how often they're kind of rerunning this. But yeah, really strong recollection, but I think both are really good. I do kind of prefer this one a little bit more than the support one here, but the support one's still pretty good regardless. So honestly, like if you get either one or both, consider yourselves lucky because they're both great. We do have one more though from the actual event itself, so let's take a look. So 50-50 for both. I always say 50-50 because, you know, same stat, even though the stat number's a little bit lower, right? 41 and 41. Anyways, first thing here, when you do anything, skill or ultimate, you increase your own damage dealt by 50% for 1 turn, and then if your own HP is full, you recover your own cursed energy by 10. So a decent amount, basically like sounds like a free-to-play option for Yuta, basically the brand new Yuta here. We have 1 dupe at the start of the turn, increase own critical hit rate by 15% for 1 turn, and then if your own HP is full when the critical hit is performed, you increase your own damage dealt by 15% for 1 turn. Okay, that's actually not bad. And then at 3 dupes, you're now increasing your own damage dealt by 55% this time instead of 50%. But yeah, honestly, 8 turn cooldown does kind of suck a little bit, but honestly, it's not that bad. This is honestly like not a bad free-to-play recollection, but this is pretty good, and you can definitely use this for Yuta. This is literally just a free-to-play version of Yuta, or a free-to-play recollection that's kind of built for Yuta. I'd say this is probably between yeah, S to A. I'd say you could make an argument for it to be S or A tier because it's still pretty good. You get a pretty decent, sizable 50% damage dealt buff. And then you get an additional damage dealt as well if you do crit, which Yuta, you know, has a higher chance of critting and all that, right? This is definitely more of the combined, right? Where it's like, you know, more focused around like all that, you know, physical on YouTube. But yeah, I'd say it might actually technically it might be tied. No, I think it'll be combined. I'll just say it's combined personally. I think that's where it would line. But yeah, I'd say it's probably like between 8. Yeah, actually, yeah, I would put an A tier. I would put an A tier. That's where I would put it. But yeah, pretty good recollection bit for a free-to-play one. Like, we actually have a pretty good one, you know, because some of the last ones have been kind of not that great. But with that being said then, guys, is Yuta worth summoning for? I think he is, but at the same time, with most gacha games, if not all gacha games, the best game plan is always to wait before the banner does leave and see what is coming out next, and if whatever is coming out next is really good, and also is limited, or like an anniversary in this case, then that's usually a safe bet to go for that. However, because this is a movie collab, I don't think it's a bad idea for go to Yuta, but at the same time, I think the best way to go about it would technically be to wait till the week or a couple days before the banner does leave, once we see what JP is getting for their anniversary, and then you can make a better decision if you really, you know, want to do that. Of course, you could also just do what my opinion is you could just do like I think 100 or 200 summons, get your full 10 pity tickets or whatever the number was from the exchange shop, and then you can just stop there. I don't think that's a bad idea either. That way you can still do pulls for Yuta and still have pulls technically for the anniversary when that comes out, and hopefully grind up cubes up until that point. I myself I'm in a pretty good spot to be able to summon for this Yuta, so I'm gonna probably go for him off the bat because I'm a little bit impatient. So it is what it is, but I'll upload that video, and you know, let me know down in the comments below if you guys are planning to summon for Yuta or how your summons went. They'll probably be in the next video anyways when I make a video for that. But yeah, with that being said, good luck with you guys' summons if you guys are planning to summon, and with that being said, I'm gonna see y'all later. Peace and take care, everybody.